Hey, it's Josh and Alicia here of the Harp and Harbins, and we are hanging out with some industry leaders. We're talking to them about how they've progressed in marketing and the business. We're part of the 15 Minutes of Lame this year, and we felt like focusing on marketing was important. So today we have JT with ReptiChip hanging out with us. So please welcome JT.
Hey, y'all. Hey. Thanks for having me.
At least you weren't picking your nose or something, that's okay.
I try to do that when I'm in backstage if I know that we can see it.
Yeah, it's not rockets, man. That's what you got to do is blast them out of there.
He drives me crazy when he does that. Would you stop?
You don't have to wipe it on your pants or anything. You just launch it.
That's right. It's the most sanitary way.
Yeah, apparently is. It gets it away from the body.
I saw John Smoltz pitcher for the Braves do that back in like the 90s. And I'm like, this is the way. This is what real men do.
Gross.
Anyway, so we'll start you off with a chip shot question. So what got you started in the reptile hobby?
I think probably a lot like everybody is, I had a fascination early on with snakes. One of my earliest memories was my dad had caught a hognose snake in the yard. And I think we were in Florida. So what is that? Probably in Eastern, right?
Southern or Eastern?
Southern. Yeah. And I remember watching it like fainting, like dying and all that. And I was like, it just blew my mind. So that was early on for me. And then, but I had a strict rule, like, no snakes in the house. And that left me to keeping snakes outside the house, but that didn't work out really well because they get out and all that. And so when I got to college, I was like, it's game on. So I had in my dorm, like other people are like hiding weed that they're growing in their dorm, and I'm like hiding like corn snakes and stuff.
That's my first snake hidden in my dorm room also is a corn snake.
I had a chameleon. I took like a tree, like a ficus tree, and had a chameleon living in there, and nobody had a clue.
You just
hiding in plain sight. Yeah,
that's brilliant. And then, so I was in school and went into the Army. I was in the ROTC program and went into the Army, so I had to get rid of everything. And then once I went into the Army, and then like as soon as I got through schooling, September 11th happened. So I was gone like the whole time. So anytime I come back from deployment, or training, I'd come like go visit the pet shops, and occasionally I bought a snake or two, but then ended up like having to like make friends with the pet shop so that I could just drop them back off after a few months. Like
a snake daycare almost.
Like you were fostering it temporarily.
Yeah, right. I loved it, right? I just fed it, bought their mice, pumped it full of their food, and then gave it back to them full size.
That's funny.
That's a good gig.
That's what a deal.
And then after that, I went to I was in the Army, and then I did contract.
So what was it that?
Okay.
Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah.
I was going to start. I think we glitched out at the same time there for a second. So what was it that took it from a hobby to a business for you?
I was overseas, and I really wanted to make a break from doing contract work, and I was just gone again all the time. So I kind of took a self-assessment of my assets, and I was like, I had very limited things that I could do as far as I could come back home and maybe do like law enforcement or do protection for celebrities or something like that. And I wasn't interested in any of that. But I was like, well, why not just pursue something that you're passionate about? And like, just,
definitely.
I didn't know any better. So that really helped me. That helped me like 100%. That helped. In fact, somebody said it one time they were like, the only reason he's successful, he doesn't know any better, right? Like he just like,
Yeah.
he just goes and does it and doesn't know. Like, and I was like, that's probably a really accurate assessment. Is like I never knew like there was people you shouldn't approach like in the community that were celebrities. I just go up and talk to them or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's kind of been like that the whole time, and just kind of just did it, instead of talking about it, right? Like we hear that a lot when people want to know how to make it. Instead, you just do it. You do it and you fail, and you do it and you fail, and you do it and you fail. Eventually, you do it right.
That's right. That's right.
I've heard the term paralysis by analysis.
Yeah, analysis.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing, right? Is like, when we start off, a lot of people have the best of intentions, and you want to do it right. Like you want it to be professional. You want to learn more before you do it. You want to, you're not ready yet. Nobody's really ready. Just do it, right?
Yeah. So when you got out of contract work and you decided to just jump in, did you jump into Rep to Chip right then, or did you do a bunch of other crazy stuff beforehand?
I was doing, there was a breaking contract where I was raising colubrids and breeding colubrids and stuff and some ball pythons. But so I knew I could do it. But then when I kind of like made the decision, I'm going all in, I did it over the course of a year where I was going back and forth, right? I bought all the infrastructure and racks and all that kind of stuff. And like made deals for snakes, like, hey, can you send it to me in 6 months? There were some patient breeders.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
And then I got back and I just started building up the collection and breeding. And then I made a move from Austin down to San Antonio to be kind of closer to my folks. And I built out a nice room for all of them. I had time, like it was a luxury. I had time to build out a nice room for the whole collection and, do it the way I wanted to. And the only thing was, though, when I got there, I wasn't ready for like the humidity to be so much different.
Yeah. Very
from
different.
A smaller room to a bigger room. And I was on like sandy chips or like aspen or something. And I was like, I think I tried like the liners and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, it's not. So then I started experimenting with like room humidifiers, even like a line humidifier, whatever I could do to raise it. It either like stuff would either drench the room, like hydroponic humidifier.
Overkill.
Yeah. Or it was just like, it was never on tap. So like, okay, I got to get in the tubs, find out how to do it in their enclosure. And they had stuff like Eco Earth and stuff. And I liked that, but I didn't like, it was fine. And, kind of gets all over the animal and stuff.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So then I found I was actually like returning the humidifier like to the hydroponic shop. I was like, you guys, will you take it back? I'm not going to use it. And I'm looking around and I saw like this coconut husk and I'm like, what's this? I'm like putting two together. And I'm like, that's the kind of the same thing as the Eco Earth, but it's in chips. So I started experimenting with that, and it was what I wanted, but it was like, it was like bleeding all over the place, and like the tannins were staining snakes.
Yeah.
Like residue of like sodium or something wrong, but I was like, no. Okay, let's figure it out. So then I figured out, well, if the hydroponic people are using it, what do like the high-end hydroponic people do? Like if you're, if you're propagating a $10,000 orchid, what are you going to use for that?
Yeah.
So then I figured out where they were getting their stuff from. And then moreover, what's the best coconut, when you're talking to somebody and like you like start to talk about coconut, you can see their eyes glaze over because like the amount into with coconut.
It's like when I talk about work to her and I start talking about tool steels and metals. She's like, what? I don't get too rich.
Got that like.
Yes. I'm pretending to be interested.
I'm trying to keep my eyes open.
And then, so I started just bringing it in for myself, found the right manufacturer, and, it was like a pallet or something like that. And I was like, this is going to last me like years. And then, all my snake buddies wanted stuff. So I was like, hey, I can't, like, literally they're buying it before I can like use it, and it takes 3 months to get. So I'm like, I can't. So I was like, all right, I'll tell you what. I took a gamble, and I was like, if I get like a small container of it, and I think it was like delivered to my house, like take it in the driveway.
Nice.
Yeah, it was kind of insane, but it kind of took off from there, and then we started like branding it, labeling it. And then it slowly eclipsed the animals, and now it's my primary thing.
Nice.
Do you still have any animals? Like, do you still keep things?
Yeah, I try to keep it pretty lean. It's still not that lean, but it's just ball pythons for now because the moment I get into something else, it's going to be all right. I need to build out another room for this. I just.
Things that happen quickly.
Yeah.
One of those
We've all got the same addiction.
It doesn't take much.
So we do probably do about 60 clutches a year.
Okay.
Wow. And then I just wholesale everything, like high-end whatever. So I guess the only thing that we really have on the market is like adults that we're just kind of rotating out.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. So, what year did Rip to Chip start, and like, how did you start? It sounds like you had people already knocking your doors down, but how did you start actually marketing it at that point? Once you said it's happening,
it started in 2014, so we're at 10 years right now, and we did have good word of mouth. So that was one thing. The other way that we started, and this is, 10 years ago, so it's very dated, but I would do like Facebook, just ads, letting people I know, that I have it, and, trying to learn the simple, like who's the audience and all that kind of stuff. So that was kind of, and then going to shows. And then almost immediately at shows, like I would run into people, dry goods vendors and stuff that were like, they were actual sales people, and I was not. So I'm still not.
Yeah.
And so they'd be like, hey, I want to do this, but I want distribution rights to Texas or something along those lines. I kind of weighed around the advantages and disadvantages, and I said, okay, you know what, for show vendors, let's do that. So we kind of started just making our own rules as we went. Like for show vendors in particular, it was, hey, I only want one vendor per show, so we don't have the problem with
that makes sense.
Them, competing against each other because we're all on the same team. So that's something unique that we do that I don't know of any other manufacturer that does. I think it works out for us. It pisses a lot of people off too, but it's just the way it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that way you don't have this, like you said, the same product competing against each other in the room. I mean, that doesn't make a lot of sense for either person or people that are trying to sell it.
I don't think so either. It's just trying to, protect their investment with us and make them successful. Yeah. And when they start building their customer base, then they can they get the fruit of their labors and not splitting it with multiple people. Whoever, like the ball python market, like drive it down to the lowest possible.
Exactly.
Who's willing to lose more?
Is the show vending and like word of mouth still kind of near the top of your marketing strategy right now, or has that adjusted a little bit over the last few years?
I think we've evolved a lot. There was a while that I did zero marketing at all. I think lately, in the past year, we've been getting serious about it and building out a marketing team where we actually have a content creator and we have a content manager.
Wow.
And that's still relatively new. We're still working a lot of kinks out, but it's been a strategy to we tread water for a while until we could put some resources behind that. And so now we're kind of building that out. And again, we're doing it unlike anyone else. Like, I don't have a background in any of this stuff. Like, my background is not business. It's not
taking care of business is what you do.
Exactly.
It is not. It's if there is one thing from my background, it's like, just go do it, right? Like, that's it. Like, if you don't know what you're doing, great, do it anyway.
Yeah, figure it out.
Yeah. And so we do that a lot, whether it's with my operations guys or sales or the vendor or whatever it is we kind of build it as we go and figure it out as we go along. We've had some tough lessons that way, but we've also had, we built stuff that works for us. So
that's true. It makes sense to do it. What works with a team,
And none of us have a crystal ball. You don't know what's around the corner. You can try to prepare, but being able to react to situations is.
What about you guys? Are you, how's your marketing progressed along the way?
I'm vice president of marketing and she's vice president of marketing. We're learning as we go. I mean, like you said, we've always wanted to have like some chat, YouTube kind of content out there to share with people because luckily this reptile community as of recent, I guess, has been very open and very helpful. We just wanted to contribute what we know.
I'd say this contest, the 15 Minutes of Lame, is it's pushed us. We had actually started working on things earlier this year, trying to get better with Instagram. We're Facebook, born people too. It's like Instagram kind of went past Facebook, and so we had to learn how to do Instagram.
Now you got TikTok coming along.
TikTok and YouTube and all these other wingding things.
Which is kind of nice. As the generations get younger, their attention span shrinks. So you only have to make like a 2-second clip and you're done.
Yeah, it's very fast. But we're both trying to learn it. And then we obviously derailed when we lost Tom. And so we've had to kind of regroup. And then now finally, because we're in the contest, it's like, we got to get our crap together. And so it's like literally, it almost has forced us to try to learn some of this stuff and try to figure out our marketing strategy and, who we are, as a team and what kind of things we want to present out there to increase our marketing, potential. So it's still a lot of learning right now.
Yeah.
Like that's what we were doing before we got on here with you. We were screaming and cussing the computers, trying to figure out how to get CapCut to send it to YouTube.
Hey, we are officially YouTubers. We have a video on the YouTubes.
Fantastic.
Mind blowing.
You're I was going to say you're almost ahead of us. We're not far ahead of you. So if that's any consolation.
So say if you did have a crystal ball and you could look around the corner and see what's coming up in the next 1, 2, 3 years, what do you see your marketing strategy having to change to adapt?
I think we're going to become more formalized in our marketing structure. I think we're drilling down on some of the same things that you guys are considering and weighing right now, which is like our content pillars and what we want to, the themes that we want to project around our brand, how we want to provide value, that kind of thing. What is inherent to us? I don't know as far as crystal ball. I don't try to project it either. I like to just do it and then learn about it as we go again, because it's like that's where I'll generate ideas or find out what's working for us. Somebody might say whatever it is, TikTok's the newest thing, although I don't know what the life expectancy of TikTok is now, but
That's
like that kind of thing is like, well, it could be here, it could surge, or it could get banned. And so what are you going to do about, well, if you're serious about it, you're just going to just make content anyway, right? Like,
you're just going to put stuff in there. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
People will find another app to poke at. There will be something else.
Oh, there's tons of platforms to get the message out, but I think we're trying to focus more on what is the message, like what in particular do we want to say, and how do we want to support the community, be known in the community. That's your voice, that's your time to talk. So what is it that that's important to your company to share with people? Another thing for us is we want to, I think one of our pillars is basically a community-based approach where we want to be inclusive instead of exclusive, whether you're a brand new reptile keeper or somebody just interested in reptiles, or if if you helped build the reptile industry and you're looking at our stuff and you're like, oh wow, hey, this is cool. What these young guys are doing. Not that I'm young, but
we've been to several shows that we've seen you at, the NARBCs and some of those, and I see a lot of sponsorship from y'all. Is that something newer that y'all have implemented through this marketing change, or how long have you been sponsoring some of these bigger shows?
I think we've done NARBC maybe from 2018 or something along those lines.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay.
I could be lying. I think early on it was a very calculated strategy. And I literally made deals with fellow vendors at the time I'm like, hey, all right, I'm going to get us the table spots we want. But here's the deal. You're paying for one of my tables at the next show, kind of thing. So I made that's how I started doing it. Just drug deals, basically, right?
Say scratching backs, greasing the wheels, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. And it was that point. And then, as we kind of grew out of it, we kind of grew together with a lot of people too. And I like that about our company. It's like, and it's not our company, maybe it's just the group of people we've come to age with. I got to see other companies grow and thrive and made really good friends along the way. And we all kind of, I like to sponsor the things like, now you've got, we do NARBC, and that's like a no-brainer. I mean, that's, I love what Brian and Bob do. And they do it amazing.
They put on a great show.
They do.
They do, and they care, and I think that it shows. But I mean, also like Sean at the Herp Show circuit.
Yes.
We did it early. We might have been one of his earliest sponsors there. Believed in it. I mean, like, I believed in what he was doing, and I'm like, I want, out of anything else, I just wanted to be a part of that, because he's, he was a good, he's a good promoter. he cares about the people. And I'm like, I'm going to do what I would want anybody else to do, is put my money behind people that I believe in and I think that are best for the industry. And there's a lot of examples of people that aren't that great, but when they do come around, I'm going to try to do what I can to help them. And then like just recently we sponsored All American Reptile Expo and the Southeast Reptile Expo, Bob's stuff. And
I think those are all good guys there too. Good representatives of the industry. And we did the All American in Charlotte, and we're signed up to do the Southeast, and we're going to be doing
fantastic.
So we're excited about those shows and really wanting to support.
Sounds like we're on the Reptachip circuit.
I think we are. There we are. We're on the Reptachip circuit. I like it. Even better.
Dad loved the Herp Show circuit too.
Yeah.
He liked going to Texas and Louisiana.
Yeah, I love the people and I love the promotion, and I think it's when you get people like that care, or like Sean been doing it a long time before he started that show, but also like Nick and Troy and Bob, they've been behind the table for 10 years at least, before. And I'm like, that makes a great promoter. What you're.
It really does. You can see a difference a lot of times, just the way that.
Yeah.
I mean, we're almost over catering a little bit. I'm like, I'm getting a little like this is nice. I wish it was like this everywhere.
Yeah.
Like,
as they should, right? Like show people what it should be like. And it's not that, I mean, I already like those guys and believe in all those guys, but I also grilled them before doing any business with them too. I'm like, all right, you have a vendor you want to get rid of. How do you do it? Kind of thing. Or you get sold out of your first venue. And so you're just jam-packed, you're crowded, you don't have another venue to do. What do you do then? Right? Like, I don't know if anybody else grills them like that, but they were all, very receptive to that. But I wanted to kind of get a sense for, how they saw running the shows and what was important to them.
That's true. That's a good way to look at it too.
It's like an interview almost, like just trying. I mean, see if they're qualified.
I mean, before you send the money to sponsor and you've got your name plastered everywhere, you want to make sure that they're going to carry through their side of everything.
100%. 100. And I learned a lot early on too about sponsoring, and there's always people that I have to laugh because I don't know if everybody gets this, but I always get like a message that's like, hey, I'm thinking about starting a podcast. Will you sponsor me?
I'm thinking about it. I haven't done anything, but
I haven't even done it yet. Like,
nice.
I don't know if that's the way it works.
Probably, but you can't back into it like that.
you gotta chop some wood before you're allowed to start a fire. You gotta put in your time.
Like, we'll find you. We'll find you in 3 years.
Well, if we see you enough, we might be able to do that.
Yeah.
And then you can tell me, no, you didn't support me early on.
At that point, I don't want your sponsorship.
That's the risk I'm willing to take. But, I think it was early on. I mean, we try to help out everybody, and you just don't. You can't absolutely do that.
Yeah,
so.
Well, you have a brand to protect also. You want to make sure you're aligning with the entities.
Yeah, that's the same kind of thing. I was learning about like brand considerations, and literally we were just working on like affiliate guides and brand guides and all that kind of stuff for even just people that are like part of our affiliate crew that gets a commission for sales through their links and stuff. We other than the outreach that Brooke does, our content manager, and kind of guiding them along, they don't really have anything official. So that's one step that we're doing is to formalize the relationship there, and also protect the brand and build the brand that way through suggestions on content. This is the way to use our logo. Here's some videos that you can use without sound, so you can voice over, all that kind of stuff.
That does seem to be helpful. That way somebody's not just throwing random stuff up there or not throwing anything at all up there. I mean, that's kind of like, I'd be more likely just like, I'm just going to leave it blank because I'm not going to try to make up what they would want us to do. So I think I kind of like that.
I like that word you used a while back, the pillars of your brand. Like you've got to set your destination. Like this is
I've learned all of this stuff from my marketing people. So I don't know any of that stuff, but I've kind of struck the best of both worlds here because I have a content manager who is well versed, grew up in the reptile community, from either going to shows or running shops, knows a lot of people, keeps her own reptiles, all of that kind of stuff. And on the flip side of that, I've got my content creator who knows nothing about reptiles. Sorry, Josh, if you my Josh. But he's learning, but he is extremely good at what he does and is formally educated in production and marketing, video content, all this kind of stuff. And so they balance each other out very well.
No, I mean, I think sometimes having a whole different outlook, like somebody that's completely outside looking in, without all the extra stuff that's we're already exposed to, it may be more beneficial in that situation.
Absolutely, 100%, right? That's kind of what we want. Is we got to be able to speak the language, but we need an outside look on things, especially when it comes to because you get it best both ways, right? Like we have professional production capability that we're just kind of scratching the surface on, but like he also has an eye for things like you and I are going to pass up because we've seen it at every show. But that's we're like, that's a cool animal if you have never seen it before, and we've seen it all the time, so we just like, yeah, it's okay, right? And but that tells me, if I'm trying to appeal to an audience of people that are new, like what better person to have in there that has an eye for that? And like,
that's so true. Yeah. That is so true. When did you get that team built? Like, when did you start a marketing team? How long ago?
I was going to ask.
Officially started it early this year. As far as our full-time hire. Yeah.
So before that, were you the marketing person?
I would say yes and no. What I really did was not a lot.
I like that. We get it. We're right there with you.
I really would do just stuff myself, and then I'd probably put money behind it with like PPC ads on different platforms, or even just doing like whatever Google AdWords or anything like that, which is still a strategy. Now I tend to take care of all the paid ads and all that kind of stuff. Like that's on me. Whereas I'm really using the marketing team now to start work on socials. Because it seems like we haven't even started yet. Just to build brand identity, but also start to have some like paid ads that are more refined, that we'll put some money behind, and then also just some stuff to have fun. I think we've got a video coming out, or an advertisement on Late to the Mic. Do you guys watch Late to the Mic?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
He's got an interview coming up that's going to be pretty cool. I think it's next week, but we're going to have a little ad on there, and it's just kind of tongue in cheek, but it's pretty cool ad.
Oh, that's fun. Though.
That'll be fun.
Oh, that'll be cool then. Very cool. We'll
Yeah,
have to watch for that one. That's literally starting to get late for us. That's close to bedtime, but we might be able to stay up. Sometimes we catch ourselves when we're out still like cleaning rodents or something we listen to.
I've told them that several times. They're like, they're East Coast, and they're like, yeah, it'll be at 9 o'clock, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to make it.
It's like it's we're early risers too, and so some of these late things, it's a little hard to pay attention to.
Our podcast will be like the senior discount buffet.
I am with you. At least, I am with you. I'm with you 100%. I'm usually in bed around 8 and then up around.
It's funny how we change as we get older. I mean, I remember wanting to sleep until noon or 1 o'clock, and then I'd stay out till like 4 o'clock in the morning and then still do stuff. I don't even know how I functioned.
Human growth hormone. You still had it back
We didn't
then.
have it. We don't have it anymore, do we? It's gone.
If I sleep past 7 now, I feel like the day's wasted. Like I'm behind.
Yeah. I can't even remember the last time that I slept in past daybreak. I don't think my body is wired that way. It just won't.
Sun is up. I got to get up and do something.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I could sleep.
Sometimes just take a good nap.
If you could compare your business plan from like 5 years ago to your current plan, how has that changed and what has changed it?
Oh, I think
that's the tricky one. That's the COVID question.
Yeah, that's such a good. I think the big things that have changed is we've started to systematize a lot of processes, whether it's in operations or sales or marketing. We have started building out SOPs and procedures, training people. That's kind of trying to encompass all our resources, especially in marketing, right? Like I have yet to launch a marketing campaign where we have brought I feel like we've even brought half of the resources that we have to bear on. So that's coming in next year. It was a lengthy process to kind of combine a bunch of different inputs and figure out, hey, let's come up with a timeline. If we know we want to launch a campaign here, it's going to take us 3 months to plan and execute and do it right. So, if we're buying t-shirts and having art made for the t-shirts and blah, 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 right? Like the timeline keeps getting pushed out. And so that's something that I've learned, and I've yet to do it, but it's something that I want to do is like, hey, let's utilize all of our resources and do this for real instead of just winging it. I've been winging it for a long time now. So
you've done pretty good winging it, but it is nice to have kind of like structured plans and project outlines and stuff like that. I like to live like that, and he does too. But then we're winging it right now.
But I don't think you can appreciate or even know how to build a process until you've winged it first.
Oh, that's the thing. No, I think it's a lot like, maybe it's like engineering. I don't know. Where
like we have revisions. We know the first one's going to suck, and we've got to revise it, and then that one's going to suck less. Then you revise it again. Then you're getting to some good. That's
the theme, right? You got to start, and then you figure it out. You tweak it and everything else. Yeah. Like there's no. I think that's a big fallacy, right? In business too, is like you get to that point, right, and then you're like, oh, dude, it's going to run itself. Yeah. No, that never happens. Like there's no time where you're sitting on the beach and you're like, the guy's got this. I'm good.
We'd still be driving 55 Chevys if that's how it works.
The only way you get to that point is you sell the business to somebody else and you take the money and you go to the beach. If you're still in the business, you are in it. And I think that's a huge
100%. And nobody's going to run your business like you are. I've got fantastic workers that have been through the gauntlet with me, and they are one in a million, and they're still not going to run it like I'm going to run it. So, and they shouldn't.
Yeah.
I think that's another big lesson I learned is like, like you can't have expectations that your people are going to run things like you are. It's not their business.
No.
They've got other things that that mean more to them than your business. So that's, there's been lots of lessons learned along the way. And I think, that's a good one to kind of,
really good one. Kind of have to soak it in because I've actually seen that with my boss. He doesn't understand why we don't want to be there in the middle of the night or on a Sunday, and it's like, this is not our business. This is your baby, your business, your baby. You should be this intense about it, but you can't expect us as basically just worker bees to want to have that same passion. And so I think learning that over time is harder as a business owner. And you kind of have to get that.
I think that's 100% though, is like that. And then also on the flip side of that is what are the, coming up with realistic expectations and being able to manage that. A lot of people that work with me, they're my friends, and I am very connected to them. We have great relationships, but just like anything else, business comes before all in this. So it's like, hey, if something needs to be done for business, guess what? We're all rolling up our sleeves and doing it because that's the priority here.
Some of my most fond memories of my dad was when I was a little kid, probably 5 or 6. Is the middle of the night. You couldn't go get a babysitter at 2 a.m., but a farmer had called and there was a calf in labor and a hung calf. So we ran all over Coffee County doing farm calls. And I thought we were kings. Like, I thought that was the best. And looking back, Dad was busting his butt to feed his family. And he did the work when it was needed. And, that instilled a lot of lessons into me. But when me and her teamed up to do this together, it's like, let's go. There is no waiting for the right moment. Like, now's the time.
Yeah. Seems to be a theme on this podcast. It's like, right? Because it is frustrating. You hear not everybody, but you hear people talking about it. And it's like, just do one thing, right? Just make the first move.
Make the move.
I think that's where we struggle with social media. Is like, by the time I've posted it once, I'm done thinking about it. Like, I'm gone. I'm in the garage making something. I don't post on Discord, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I was like, I want to do. So
it's a lot of focus to like stay on top of the marketing, social media stuff, and but I think getting pushed into this is helping us, get over that hump, because I think we were analyzing, being paralyzed to it, because we were like, well, we'll just do this and do this and this. And we just kept talking about it. I was like, we're not going to do anything. We just got to do it. Like, and then we just started doing stuff. And it's a lot easier like that. And learning it the hard way, I guess. Like, he posted something the other day. It's funny. We're going down the road. I said, hey, why don't you do this real quick and just go ahead and do it Instagram, because he can't stand dealing with it on the phone. And then he posted it, and I said, well, did you put any music to it or anything? He's like, well, no. And I said, so is it just road background sound? I was like, go in there and delete it quick. Delete it. And then he couldn't figure out to delete it. And then I was like, let's look at it real quick. We stopped on the side of the road. We're on the back road mountains from here to Canova,
North
down
Georgia.
to North Georgia, in the middle of nowhere. And so we stop at this gas station. And we archive it real quick. And then I was like, okay, let's try this again. Let's actually put some music.
I did what you said. I posted.
But it's like, I've done that before, and now he knows how to like take the thing down when he hasn't really done what he was supposed to do all the way. But learning by, I guess, just trial and error.
Learning opportunities are everywhere.
Yeah, that's me. That's exactly my experiences. And I'm not. I know enough to know I'm horrible at it, and we're lucky to be in the right place to be able to kind of invest in people doing it and teaching me along the line. That's part of the investment too, is it's not the more I get into this thing, like your biggest investments are in money, it's in time, right? And so and time's always going to be your most costly and your asset.
Yes.
And so it's the amount of time that we invest in building and training and people teaching me about this stuff. It's a lot. And it's definitely not my strong suit. So I end up in the learner seat for a long time. But I think that because you guys are doing that, and anybody that invests in learning the socials, right, just by doing it, like has a leg up when it comes time to being like, okay, I'm going to hand this off.
Yeah, that's true.
That's one part of business. I don't feel like I feel like I've done almost everything at the ground level and then built it to a point where I could hand it off. It's kind of the way that we've done things. I don't feel so much like that about our socials or our marketing side. I'm more like, you guys fix this.
Yeah, yes. fix it. Yeah. Well, it's cool though that even though it's not your strong suit, you're still trying to learn it. You're not like just literally like dumping it on people and running off. I mean, it could be, you could literally just say, just do whatever, but that's not you. And that's not how you want your business done either.
Oh yeah, no, they will be the first to tell you that I am all up in that business, and I'm sure it gets frustrating, but it's just like anything else. Part of that frustration probably because I'm learning and I want to know. And I want them to provide, if they don't like something, then let's discuss it because you're the expert. So explain it to me. How are we going to meet these criteria? What is a better way to do it? Explain it to me.
That makes sense.
I like that.
Yeah, working together literally as a team, so you understand it, and then they understand where you're coming from too.
The military kind of instilled that aspect in me. It's like I was not a subject matter expert in anything, but I had a bunch of people working for me that were subject matter experts, and I wasn't the best at anything, but it was figuring out, okay, this guy knows exactly what he's doing. This guy's full of shit. This guy, whatever it is, right? But bringing that to bear is in like trusting other people and then utilizing them the best way. People usually just tell you, like, this is the best way to use me, kind of like. So I think that's
cool. You're using your own like experiences, and that's kind of how we are. We use our business, as far as what we do on our day to day, and we've actually implemented some of those tasks into the reptile business, and so crossing over is comfortable.
Can you think of an example?
I'd say probably my triage with the animals. With being a vet, like we'll have 20 animals in the clinic, but there's always a priority animal. So like I know triaging babies versus adults versus somebody's ill versus I've got gravid ones. So that's kind of where I feel like I can handle 800 animals because I already know how to triage the group.
Yeah.
So, and I think Josh he's skilled in his organization through engineering, and he utilizes that in we're both making stuff for us, but even keeping up with your rodent documentations and stuff like that. Very analytical, I think. She'll
spit out the idea. She's like, I've got this crazy idea, but what if? And I'm like, oh, I'm going to make something. Yeah. And sure enough, it's a doodad. She doesn't know what to call it or how to make it, but I can see it as she's explaining it. And sure enough, in a few days, we'll have a solution. And not like we're not making like, stuff we're going to sell at Walmart, but it's stuff that we need here in the shop, stuff that helps our day go by a little better. So, and maybe that's signals, maybe it's labels that we can communicate to each other without having to be in here talking face to face. It's how we write down this, how we digitize or document things. So like you were talking earlier, systems to help us work together is big. And ultimately we're going to design a system that we can work in. So when we bring in person 3, and then
Yeah.
4, the system's already kind of roughed in.
Yeah, that's
both of our jobs really require that, because both of our jobs are team-oriented jobs.
Yeah, it's like you've got the basis for everything that you need right there, and it's just building out on stuff that you already know. I love that fact. Like, I'm like that. I'll spit out what I need, but I don't know how to get there. Right? Like, help me get there. And then other stuff, I'm really good.
Yeah.
I love doing that at work too, at the shop. Somebody will bring this problem to the meetings, and then 3 or 4 of us will chime in and throw ideas, and the person asking the question, their eyes are getting big, like, this is it. We've got a solution, or at least something to try.
Something to start with.
Yeah.
So let me ask you one more. I know we've kept you longer than we planned on, but so you've sponsored some shows. So over the years, you've seen, vendors, breeders come and go. What seems to be a consistent characteristic of those who have stuck around through the years?
I think there's especially in our community, there's this is not the politically correct way of saying anything, but there's a lot of hobbyists that think they're businesses, right? But there's nothing wrong with being a hobbyist. I mean, there's a lot of beauty in it, actually, where you, like, if you could just break even, right? Like, it's not really a business, but there's so much beauty in that, is like not having to rely on that for income, because things change so much when you have income, or when you have to make those decisions, sell animals or whatever that you don't want to, because you've got to make ends meet. And so if you look at the reptile buying public, there's probably 50% of those sales are going to quote unquote businesses. And in reality, it's probably more like 1% of those sales are going to actual businesses that are for profit.
Yeah.
And so I would say that if we're just looking at reptile breeding, I think for a profitable business, you're going to have to do everything like a business. So you're going to have to learn business structure. And honestly, if you're in business and like you can make, like, it's not rocket science, right? Like reptile, any type of breeding operation is pretty straightforward. There's not a lot of complexities, but there are, there is that. You have to stand out. You have to, like, what makes you different of everybody else that's doing the same thing. And so the people that have lasted the longest are, I would say, they have the attributes of entrepreneurs. They have tenacity. Stick to it. They're going to see it through. Like we talked about, they're just going to start. They're just going to do. And learn as they go. And the flip side of that is, I know we all know somebody that's not the best shining example of a reptile breeder that seems to be doing well, but for the most part, it is the good guys that make it, that are very successful, because we all love reptiles, but this business is about people. So it's taking care of those people that are your customers, but not only your customers, like your fellow show vendors or retailers or whatever, right? Like, and I mean, taking care of, like, you have to give them money, or it's just like being good, just good people, right? Like, be good to your neighbors, be good to your people, network with these. And you guys, people, that would be my advice to people starting off in this industry is, if you're serious about making it, whether or not it's for profit or not, is find your people, like network with your people, because there's guys that I've, since I started doing this full time, we're still really, really close. And I wouldn't give that up for the world. It's really cool to watch as you and your buddies become like successful in something that you both love. So it's totally doable, even though there's a lot of stuff thrown at you along the way. Just don't give up and keep building it.
Very cool.
That's good stuff.
That is good stuff.
Awesome.
Do you have any questions for us?
Yeah,
we
hour here
slammed
almost.
A bunch of stuff on you at this point.
So I don't know if anybody's asked already, but what are the next steps for you guys? You just had a big loss with Dad passing away and so much transition. I know you're still going through a lot of that transition, but what does the next year look like for you guys?
Building is
step one is a building. Dad's loss instantly doubled our collection. Most people, gradually grow, but this was a big hit. Nobody else in the family wanted to take the snakes. Fortunately, Mother loves growing rats and mice, so she's keeping the feedings going on down there in Alabama. But anyway, we're getting a building built up here in Tennessee, and once we have the building in place, then we can bring the rest of Dad's collection up here. And I think that's going to be beneficial in two ways. For one, I think we'll have a dedicated facility and get all these tubs out of the house. But then two, I think it will solidify and legitimize this as us taking this to the next level. We aim to push this to a true business. Love to replace her income with it. I think right now it's definitely advanced hobby. But we can see the pathway forward to making it something more. So the building here is going to be, we're excited. It's going to save time, because driving down to Alabama every weekend, that's 5.5 hours one way. So we're losing a full day every week. On top of getting more animals.
I think that's probably, just having our week smeared out like that has been hard. And we use the time, as much as we can in the van traveling, like going over business ideas, going over strategy things, like, all those kind of things, like the next show that we're going to, any kind of price adjustments we need to do in the system beforehand. So we're trying to use that time the best we can. But there's still about 220 animals down there that we go and take care of, mostly the adult ball pythons of his. And then we still have some babies there that we just haven't shifted up here. We've got a lot of the babies up here now, and everything that's for sale stays with us because we can take them to the show. And all the subadult and adult hognose between both collections are in brumation. We stuffed those in the cooler a couple weeks ago. I was like, whoo, that's like 200 animals I don't have to feed them per week.
That's the bonus of colubrids. You can shut them down for a minute.
I'm shutting the corn snakes down next week. So it's like, it's just like take a nap for a little bit. We'll deal with y'all later. So that's been very handy. And then Tom had, right after he passed, was like his peak of his season. And he bred everything. And so we had ball pythons literally coming out of our ears.
His incubator was stacked
fluorescent. We just pulled the last clutch out of his incubator last week. I do anticipate probably like 2 or 3 more clutches, but I don't count that as the season as much as just scattered. And we just pulled our last clutch of ball pythons out like a month ago. And so it's like kind of like no more should be coming out.
A little bit before it starts all over again.
And we do have a lot of shows planned next year. I don't know long term if we're going to be, like road warriors. I don't feel like that's going to necessarily be our bread and butter, but I think right now as we're transitioning and getting to know people, getting to know Tom's circuit that he went on, because we want to get to know those people also. We'll be doing a lot of shows. And then as we get settled in at the facility, we can do more online. We can focus on social media. The shows may trickle down a little bit.
I still feel like we're trying to establish our brand. And so that's where doing shows and doing online together, a hybrid approach, I think is the best way to do that.
Yeah. And then you can throttle back the show, but especially once you have something built out, you you got a place to make content, all of that.
Yes. Yeah. Right now we're like literally set up on our cart that I put food on and roll around and clean tubs on. We clean it off real quick. We put our little setup. We do our little thing. We clean it off again. So, but there's Repta-Chip piled up in the living room. There's deli cups piled up in the living room. There's corn snakes in the office. There's quarantined ball pythons over in my sewing area.
The garage is full of rats.
Rats everywhere. It's just the whole place.
Just like all the other successes in the ballpark. This is how it all starts, right?
Yeah, a 70-30 ARS set up in the master bedroom where we took the bed out last week and put it in storage so we can set up racks in there.
I think it was like 2 years ago we remodeled this room, and when it was empty, we were looking around like, man, we won't need any more than this ever. And here we are.
We got racks everywhere, but no, that's where we're at in the next year is the building, and then kind of just getting ourselves settled in. And we're excited. We were a nervous wreck and a mess a couple of months ago, but we're getting better. Better.
I think that's how it all. You guys have been doing this for a while, but like, for those that watch this that don't think that that somebody, they buy a facility and they move in and blah blah blah, they must have millions of dollars or what. This is how it starts. Like, this is how it's like, it's getting stuff from different places. Nothing's ever the way you want it. You're stretched out. Like, I got to drive to get my rats, and then I got to. Especially with you guys.
Oh yeah.
But that's the way it starts. And I like to say, go back and watch Kapolka's videos from
back in the beginning.
We have
his first building, and he talked about how he made it look like it was bigger than it really was, and that's pretty cool. Yeah,
we kind of talked about that on this a little bit too. There's this thing of fake it till you make it too. Right?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you have to be fake, but when you have like you said, when you're filming a ball python and you have a cart, and that's the best you can do, right? You clean the cart off, you make it look nice, and you film on that. And guess what? Nobody knows if that cart is attached to a, $10 million facility or right? Is
that one of 7 carts, or is that the only cart you have? Yeah, nobody knows.
But it looks just fine, just like that.
So. It definitely does. Yeah, and I think that's a true statement, and I think Justin actually said that at one point. He said, "You got to fake it till you make it."
Yeah, and when you look at when you're there and you're looking over all that, and you're like, okay, there's proof somebody did it. I might not be as smart as him, but if I'm half as smart as him, then he's done it well. So, very well. Well,
awesome.
This has been really cool, man, and thank you so much for your time. Gave us again. We've been pretty stoked about all these interviews and like all the little tidbits, and as expected, you gave us little tidbits again that are really great. So
tons of gold nuggets in there.
Get soundbite the hell out of it, and then use it for the next 5 years. I think that's
all right. We'll put you in the back room just for a second, and we're gonna peel out on here. Hang on.
Hey guys, thanks for hanging out with us. I hope you enjoyed it. I learned a lot. I love listening to these industry moguls and hearing where they came from and how they got there. So
it's been great. Yeah. So don't forget to go vote for us for 15 Minutes of Lame. It's still going because we're going to put this out while it's still happening. So go vote. Okay, guys. Thanks.